So let's keep this moving. I want to go on to my third favorite book. Again, something that people might be surprised that I read, and that is Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. And it's true, I used to be a smoker. I think I had my first cigarette when I was 15 years old. My mom used to hire college students that would stay with us and drive us places and like mow the yard and like clean up and cook for us, and she would give them a free room. And one of those guys taught me how to smoke a cigarette, and needless to say, she wasn't very impressed. And so I started smoking, and I would smoke Lucky Strikes and Marlboro Reds, and it was just a really bad habit I had. And luckily, I found Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. This is an amazing book, over 15 million copies sold. What I like about this book is that it teaches you that if you can train your brain, you can stop smoking. And a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, including me, read this book and stopped a 20-year smoking habit the next day. And honestly, I'm reading it, and he's like, you're halfway through the book, and he said, don't stop reading this, but when you get to the end, you will stop smoking. He says, don't stop smoking while you're reading the book. Keep smoking. And I hated it. It was a disgusting habit. It was interfering with my martial arts. It was slowly killing me. And I was like, I'm better than this. And I read it, and it basically shows you that you have been conned by playing this game of nicotine. It's an addictive drug. Then you start to look at it differently, like it's a con, as opposed to something that's relaxing. And you start to look at smokers, and they look like these little crackheads that are hanging out under the eaves in the rain and getting their little fix. And finally, you reframe the whole thing into a point where at the very end, without hypnosis, without drugs, without anything, you just stop. And I was amazed, and it worked for me. But more importantly, it showed me that my brain was in charge of my life. And for so many of us, our intentions are not in charge of our life, right? We succumb to bad eating habits, bad relationship habits, bad anxiety habits, bad patterns, and we live these lives of desperation. But this book showed me that by putting through the right mental framework, putting through the right systems in your life, you can have a high-performance existence, and you can be somebody you're proud of. And so this was a great book. I actually stopped smoking for about 10 years, and then one day somebody gave me a cigar and said, that's not a cigarette, and I started smoking cigars, and I got back on the cigarettes, and I read it again, and I stopped. And now I will not ever be smoking anything the rest of my life, which is what Alan tells you to do. I just didn't listen. So this works, and I highly recommend it, and is one of the books that really changed my life. So I hope that helped for you. Just going back to the tapes here, Marcin said his favorite book is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I love Chris. He was one of our guests on London Real, an amazing negotiator. And it's true, you should never split the difference. And so that's a great book. I really love that. Definitely worth picking up. Again, if you're coming in late, type in what's your favorite book. Sandy says Bruce Lipton and the Vitali books are really good, all about taking action. And that's amazing stuff. Bruce Lipton talks about epigenetics. Love that stuff. At London Real, we believe that individual transformation can change the world. Join us and start your journey today.